Welcome to our admin meeting for Thursday, August 13th, 2020. Before we dive in, do we have any public comment on items not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, Cindy Kennedy is our first presenter to talk about a CDBG proposal.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. First item is the request for the Board of County Commissioners to formally adopt a resolution to authorize submission of a Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, application to the Montana Department of Commerce for the Buena Vista Wastewater System Improvement Project, Phase 2. This resolution states Missoula County has the legal jurisdiction and is authorized to facilitate the construction of the improved Buena Vista wastewater system. It states the county agrees to comply with all applicable parts of Title I of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974. It also states the county commits to providing the required 25% matching funds. This match has already been secured in the form of a Water Resource Development Act, or WRDA, grant in the amount of $125,000. We'll be applying for $450,000 in CDBG funding. And finally, the resolution states the Board of County Commissioners is authorized to submit the application on behalf of the Buena Vista community. Are there any questions?
Not for me. This is a great thing for them.
No,
Indeed.
no questions. Maybe if Cindy could talk about the next item, which is related.
Yes, absolutely. So this is a request for the Board of County Commissioners to approve a certification for application for a Community Development Block Grant application to the Montana Department of Commerce, again for the Buena Vista Wastewater System Improvement Project, Phase 2. This document's rather lengthy. It certifies that Missoula County will comply with all requirements established by the Montana Department of Commerce, applicable state laws, regulations, and administrative procedures, and accepts all Montana Community Development Block Grant Program requirements. The document outlines national and state objectives that may pertain to CDBG, as well as a lengthy description of state and federal laws and regulations. For example, civil rights, equal opportunity, fair housing, environmental, labor compliance, etc. So by signing this document, the county is committing to complying with all the outlined laws, regulations, administrative procedures associated with the CDBG program. Any questions about that one?
Nope. Look forward to this moving along. I can't count how many items we've had related to Buena Vista over the years, but glad there's progress. I'd move items 1 and 2.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Cindy.
And
Thank you.
yeah, thank you. And just one quick note, and Dave, you haven't heard the end of it. So I will have another document that I'll need you all to sign. It's basically a cover letter or a cover document authorizing submission of the grant application. So I'll get that on the agenda in the coming weeks. It's due September 15th. So I'm running out of daylight.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is Jen Kirscher.
Yeah, good morning. I'm Jen Kirscher. I'm the manager of the home visiting services at the health department, and I'm here on behalf of Kara Hansen today. Kara normally oversees this Nurse Family Partnership Program, but she is out of the office. So I'm here to request the board approve and sign the Lewis and Clark County Professional Services Agreement for the health department for the Nurse Family Partnership Home Visiting Program. The health department will provide the nurse supervision and the data entry services for the Lewis and Clark County Nurse Family Partnership Program. This contract is very similar to last year's, almost the exact same amount, and they will pay us in four quarterly payments. The total of this public service PSA is $27,956.51.
Great. Jen,
So
Any questions?
how does home visiting work in our current pandemic moment?
Yeah, so we are doing primarily all our home visiting work via Teams over telehealth stuff, and we're actually being really successful. And some families that
Great.
were hard to reach are actually more engaged in this platform. So
Wonderful.
it's working really well.
Great. It's great to hear. And I'm glad we
Thanks.
can help out Lewis and Clark County.
Right, yeah.
I guess on that front, for folks who might wonder, what the heck are we doing approving a PSA for something related to Lewis and Clark County? Could you elaborate, Jen?
Yeah, I'll do my best. Again, this isn't my area, but I'll try. So there's the Nurse Family Partnership program is set up in a state collaborative. And so with each nurse, there is a specific supervisor, and that's normally Kara Hansen that oversees that nurse, and they provide direct reflective supervision multiple times a week. So in Lewis and Clark, they have one nurse over there that takes, has a caseload of 20 to 25. It's a full-time nurse, I believe. And so Kara provides that reflective supervision within that nurse family partnership model. And she, in normal times, goes over there a couple times a year as I think it's all the details are spelled out in the contract, but she meets with that nurse via Teams or some other electronic thing, at least weekly, and participates in with the Missoula nurses as well on some of those meetings.
And I guess it just to be clear for the media that's on the line, we get paid for this.
Correct.
Great. Well, I'm glad to see it continue. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I would move that we approve and sign the PSA.
All right, all in favor?
Aye. Maybe we could include a note with this reminding Lewis and Clark County that they're welcome to join the Passenger Rail Authority if they'd like.
Well, they still have some population before everyone moves to get to the train station. All right, Bradley, you're up next.
Okay, well, up before you is a resolution to conduct the November 3rd election via mail ballot. The governor recently passed a directive. As you're well aware, we had worked together to draft a letter requesting that there would be a directive allowing counties to opt in for a mail ballot election. A mail ballot election was incredibly successful for our June election and our primary election. We were able to serve a record-setting number of voters while keeping limited wait times for voters on election day and encouraging safe and healthy contact on election day while cleaning between our stations, helping serve voters at a record-setting number. What this would allow us to do would be to conduct the election for November in a very similar method. It would be all mail so that all active voters would automatically receive a ballot on October 9th. Polling places would be closed on election day. However, in-person voting would be available and open to voters who opt to vote in that path starting on October 2nd. So for this election, we would actually be providing 212.5 hours of in-person voting for people who chose to vote in person, as well as increasing our ADA access on election day and drop-off locations for voters around the entire county. We're working closely to prepare ADA drop-off locations that include new ADA equipment, as well as drive-through drop-off for other voters. In multiple areas, we're right now looking at about 12 locations, from Seeley Lake to Greeno to Clinton over to Lolo, to help make sure we're covering out towards Frenchtown as well. With our June election being kind of our guideline for running a federal election vote by mail, we found this to be incredibly successful. We had over 12% increase in voter turnout, and we had far less wait times on election day than we have seen in a polling place election similarly. So that's my little push here. Questions about this?
So just to be clear, you said 12 drop-off locations across the county?
Yeah, so what we're doing is we had 5 drop-off locations. We always kind of do an ad hoc drop-off location at our election center. We don't want to encourage people to drive through here because of traffic concerns, but we get a lot of voters here. So we add in an unadvertised drop-off location at our election center that is a drive-through. But then compared to the 5 or 6 we had in the primary, we'd essentially be doubling it for November.
Great.
And really taking into account some of the areas for improvement, increasing our ADA services and areas for rural voters so that they don't have to come all the way to town.
That's fantastic. So Bradley, how are we going to get the word out about these drop-offs and where they are and how mail-in will work?
Absolutely. So we're starting right now. We have been working on kind of a bifurcated plan, both polling places and with a vote by mail potential option. We're working closely to notify voters who are inactive, who may not automatically receive a ballot, and work with polling place voters who normally vote at the polls to let them know about these options. The biggest difference is that because of the timing of this directive, we're able to put these drop-off locations directly on our instructions inside the ballots. So that way voters can know, starting on the date that they receive their ballot, October 9th, where they can go to drop it off on election day, which locations will have ADA access. And that's going to be a big plus. In addition to that, we're closely partnering with the communications department on a really robust outreach.
Great.
Bradley, so describe how this would work if hypothetically I want to go in and vote in person. Would I still be receiving a ballot through the mail, or just describe how that plays out?
Absolutely. So all voters are managed through the Secretary of State's statewide voter database. With Missoula County opting into a vote by mail, all active voters would automatically receive a vote by mail ballot. Since it's managed through the database, anybody who chose to vote in person instead of voting that vote by mail ballot would have the opportunity to either have that ballot voided and a new ballot issued to them if they were wanting to come in on October 2nd before their ballot had actually been mailed to them, or they can take that ballot that has been mailed to them and they can vote that ballot in person.
We lost you, Bradley.
Oh, sorry, chopped in and out. So they can vote and have their ballot voided, or they can vote the ballot mailed to them. So they can come in person and vote it here in person. A lot of voters like that confidence of knowing that their ballot has been deposited directly with the elections office. And so the options are to either void that ballot or to vote the ballot via the mail in person. Either way that those options go through, all voters are tracked through the voter database portal, myvoterpagemt.com, so that any voter who votes, be the mail or in person, can confirm their ballot's been received by our office to make sure their ballot gets counted on election day. Now, part of this directive is very similar to the primary election, where it does require prepaid postage. We have been working actively through our budgetary requests as well as with the USPS to apply business reply mail to these. The big difference between that is that we will only pay return postage on the ballots that are mailed back to us. So any voter who does choose to use a drop-off location doesn't pay, Missoula County taxpayers don't pay for return postage on those ballots unless it's mailed.
But I guess, Bradley, is it not also the case that as far as postage is concerned, this is a reimbursable expense by the state or CARES Act?
The governor's directive does allow for the reimbursable expense, my understanding of this. The big benefit to the business reply mail is that we're talking about upwards of $15,000 in taxpayer savings, be it from the CARES reimbursement or from county funds, because of ballots that are undeliverable, not mailed back or returned as undeliverable or dropped off in person. So those were areas where we had paid postage during the primary due to the time frame, where for this election, we would only pay if it is truly delivered through USPS.
So I guess just to be clear, we will be seeking reimbursement for postage. So hopefully there will be little, if any, impact on Missoula County property taxpayers from this. Bradley, one other question in terms of just not the postage, but just the management of a mail-in election like this. Are there additional costs that would be incurred that would otherwise not if it was not an all-mail ballot election?
Will equate to a net savings. With the decrease in training election judges and polling place election judge service, we will substantially save on labor wages there. However, we do have increased temporary staff costs for signature verifications. Every mail ballot signature is individually verified by an election worker, but it will equate out to a net savings as we saw in the primary election.
Bradley, what's the election judge training and numbers of election judges situation given it's going to be in a more extended or expanded time when people could actually vote in person?
For our election judges, this is a very specific role of people who help serve, usually directly in a polling place on election day. These are
only on election day.
Only on election day. The other staff that we have working are our temporary staff, and that's why we see a little bit of the increase there, but a dramatic decrease. But these are our staff who are friendly people out collecting your ballots at a drive-through drop-off location. We were about 300 election judges short of what we would need to run a successful polling place election. However, we do have enough judges recruited to run a mail ballot election. We are seeing a lot of people who are interested, who are younger, feel safe and healthy, who would like to participate. Great. So we are looking at a very limited expansion of our election judge training in September to try and help keep people engaged in this process who would like to be.
Great.
Yeah, thanks. Well, this is all, I think, good news. So I would move that we approve the resolution.
Absolutely. Well done, Bradley. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
And I just want to point out, I know you guys in the EAC have been working on this for a long time, and even prior to the epidemic or the pandemic.
And this is where I like to say it takes a village to run a good election. We really appreciate the support of the Board of County Commissioners, those dedicated staff on the EAC, and the whole community who comes together to help ensure a successful election. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Okay, do we have any correspondence? Did we vote? I just forgot.
I think we did.
We did vote. Okay, great. All right, on to correspondence. Any correspondence? Okay, so discussion items. Anything in the world of communications?
Yes, hi Commissioners. I just want to let you know I sent you a draft of a media release that we're planning to send out after the budget hearing today. So if you guys can just give that a quick look, just kind of a heads up if you have any concerns, changes, just let me know. Thank you.
Thanks. Look at that. Anything on wildfires or the pandemic that we have not yet covered? Okay, I think Honora is on to talk about the library.
Okay, good morning.
Morning.
Sorry I missed your meeting last week. I was in the middle of construction meetings. So the library is coming along. We hope to be out of the old building by September 1st because the city has it leased out already. But things are coming along a lot slower than expected due to pandemic issues of glass. The companies that some of the glass was purchased from in Seattle were down for several months, and when they kick back up to do to start production again, some of the glass that is needed to complete the building has not been made or shipped yet. So
wow.
We're moving along slowly. The staff has moved, we hope to have a community brigade in helping to move the collection, at least part of it, because the community so much wanted to be involved in helping move to the new building. And how they ended up helping was we weren't able to take returns because we at first had to quarantine our returns for 3 days. And since then, in the last 2 weeks, information has come down from the CDC that we now need to quarantine for 4 days rather than 3, because any kind of paper that has any slick surface to it showed traces of the virus after 3 days. So we're now quarantining everything for 4 days. And that was really impossible for us to do in the old building. We didn't have anywhere to put those materials to quarantine them. So after we moved the collection out of the old building into the new one, and I'm sure you saw in the news, the staff loading carts onto Jim Simmelroth's trailer it going over to the new building and then everybody in the new building helping shelve items. We're able now to quarantine the old or the items that are coming back on the old shelving because it's empty at this time. So that's been working pretty well. Staff is working between both buildings. So we're still doing curbside service of serving between 90 and 130 to 40 people a day, which is amazing. I've had a lot of notes and comments from people asking that we continue curbside service even after the library opens, due to the fact that they're unable to either find parking downtown and they're elderly and can't get in very easily if they don't have a close parking space, or that they just don't feel comfortable going out in groups of people. And we will continue curbside even after we open. Curbside at the new building will be much easier because as you drive up to the book drop, there's a staff door right there that the staff can go out and take materials to people. So it will it'll be a lot easier to handle that curbside service while we still have in-person service in the library. We're still, as I said, still waiting for a lot of things to be completed. The building looks fabulous. I had an architect from town who works for Families First, was touring with their group last week and said to me, you certainly chose, the community certainly chose the right firms to do this building. It's absolutely beautiful. Instead of the wall finishings being screwed up or nailed up, they are hung on the walls. So we have panels of wood that you don't see a screw hole or a nail hole in because they are hung like a picture on the wall, and the walls are beautiful. You'll be really impressed when you see it, and contact me and come and take a tour any day.
Yeah, when can we do
glad to take you through the building at any time. You just have to step over a few things that are still not done or things that are on the floor, but it's really amazing. The community will be extremely proud of themselves that they chose to have such a great thing for Missoula.
What do you say, Josh? Should we do a tour?
Let's do it, man. Let's schedule a tour. Absolutely.
Great. We'd love to have you. Erica and Kim are coming on the 19th. If you want to join them, Erica's going to tour the building, and Kim to kind of give us some help on how many people, when we finally do open the doors to the public, how many people it's safe to leave in at one time, and what areas we need to make sure we limit, and so that we're doing everything safely as far as risks and benefits goes. Our signage person who's building the signage for the building, also he is printing the signage for the COVID reminders around the building. So they'll all be in place as soon as Greg gets all the signage completed. So and we're hoping that we can open sometime in September, but I just got off the phone with Chris Martison a few minutes ago, and he said we all need to really understand that we do not want to push the end of this project right now because we want it done complete and properly. It's a beautiful building. We paid $37 million for it, but the amount of in-kind donations from all of the subcontractors has been tremendous. It's unbelievable that they would do that much work in kind. As you know, we had a really small contingency on this project, and so it's just been amazing. Dick Anderson Construction has donated a lot to the project, and we're very thankful for it. And so we want it to end up being the building that everybody wanted.
Great. Well, we'll schedule a tour. I think probably separate from Kim and Erica, as their desires would be different than Dave.
Absolutely.
Their needs for that tour would be different than ours.
Sure.
Great. Thank you.
Sure. And then at the library board meeting this month, the last Wednesday of the month, they will be discussing the solar panels for the building. And I've talked to a couple people that we're going to call Andrew to find out about supporting that project. So hopefully, Andrew, you'll get a couple calls.
Sounds great, Honora. I look forward to it.
Yeah, and Honora, we are also working on assembling items that were requested by Jeff Badnock to put in the time capsule.
Yes. So. And he wants those by the 14th.
Oh, that's tomorrow.
Geez, I got to get on that.
Oh, okay.
He sent an email saying he extended it to the 21st.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. It'll be a fun time capsule for all of you who'll still be around.
We'll see.
Yeah.
You might need your cane by then, right?
Yeah.
Thanks, Honora.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
Hey,
see you soon.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Hey, this is Martin with Missoula Current. I'm just wondering, when will the community partners move into the library, like MCAT and the museum or the children's thing? When will they occupy the building?
So we'll all move in together, Martin. We're hoping that the week of the 24th that we can start actually moving items in, but until all the floors are complete, which means that until all the HVAC is running the way that they want it to run, they don't want to put furniture and stuff in place on the floors because they still have to get under the into the plummet of the floor to make sure things are right. I don't know that technical stuff, but that's what I'm told. So until we can actually move items in and sit them in place, we're not going to physically move in. The books are there because the shelving's in place, but as far as the rest of us, we're just going to wait until we're positive that we're not in the way and that there's just little things to finish in the building that don't require moving furniture or desks and that kind of stuff anymore. So it's going to be another couple weeks.
Great, thank you.
You bet.
Okay, anything else? Great. There's a whole extra half hour. All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Have a great day.